Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Clever Podcast. And today we're continuing our UAP preview series leading up to the UAP opening. And today we have a special episode because we're looking behind enemy lines. We have a special rivalry preview episode. So on today's show, so I'm Kiko, joined by Vic, Brian, and today's special guest, Maui from the Boleros Podcast. Maui, welcome on board. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So, are you excited for the season? Looking forward to it. It's a week to go and everything.
Definitely. It's been a long wait. I think that's the problem with the UAP schedule.
Yeah.
All of us, the fans, have to wait for such a long time. I think at least 9 months before the season, after the finals from the previous season in basketball. So definitely excited. We're having games. From what I've heard, I've told you guys off air. We're having games in UST at some in Ateneo, maybe in MOA and Araneta for the big games, but yeah, definitely very excited. UAP basketball is really something to look out for, especially the fourth quarter of any year for me since the 2000s.
Uh, and and special treat for you today, Maui, and for your listeners today. Maui and Boleros, they're pretty fair and balanced on their views on the UAP, all basketball topics. But here he gets to loosen that tie a bit, take off that Boleros cap and put on his blue Ateneo cap for today to help us preview the Ateneo side of things, the UAP. So Maui, in that case, not a good afternoon to you today. But welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Not the best of luck to you this season, but but to get to know you better, the Atenean side of Maui, Brian has some quick fire questions for Maui today. Go ahead, Brian.
Alright, first up is first UAP memory.
Uh, my first UAP memory was my dad bringing me to games. Actually, I was after school in Ateneo grade school, I would just go dun sa likod ng Blue Eagle Gym. It was open, and I remember I didn't have to buy tickets. Siguro they didn't want to stop children from entering the Coliseum. I would just enter straight dun sa media and just meet my dad during the games after school, after dismissal, and that was basically my first UAAP memory. My dad still a die-hard Atenean, but during those days, my dad was also a big supporter of UP kasi he graduated there from college. So basically, the first few games I was able to watch of the UAP were games from Ateneo and some UP.
Ayos. Next one is favorite basketball player. So one foreign player and one local para may diversity.
My favorite basketball player of all time is probably Tracy McGrady. Especially during his Orlando Magic days. I was a huge our household was a huge anti-Lakers. We were an
Okay.
anti-Lakers
Okay.
family. So
Yes.
we were my dad was a very big fan of the San Antonio Spurs. So I was a huge fan of Tim Duncan very early on, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. But as far as personal idols from the NBA, I would say it would si Tracy McGrady talaga. And then eventually Derrick Rose. So I'm a bit cursed when it comes to
Oo nga.
NBA players.
Oo nga.
Very injury ridden. Uh,
Oo.
I was fortunate enough na si LeBron. I've been following LeBron. I've been collecting LeBron James cards since 2003. So that dun medyo swerte. LeBron has been very healthy throughout his career. Local fan, if you talk about the UAE, sige, pagbigyan natin PBA. If you talk about the PBA, one of my one of one of my early memories, early childhood idols was probably si Mark Agiwa, yung Fast and the Furious ng Hinebra. I really love JJ Helterbrand and Mark Agiwa. I was a point guard in high school and grade school. So I really loved how they pushed the tempo, scored the basketball. Very versatile guards. Could play both positions. Sa UAAP naman, I would say my first idol and probably my biggest idol ever since is probably si Rich Alvarez. He was the first one that really turned me on. I used to buy and one basketball shoes. Kung ano suot ni Rich
Nakano siya
Alvarez
nun eh.
sa Ateneo
Yeah.
Lasal, I would
Tai
wear,
Chi.
I would
Tai
wear
Chi.
Tai Chi. I had that, yung Tai Chi in whites. I would follow yung whatever shoes si Rich Alvarez wore sa UAAP. Those were one of my first UAAP memories also, yung 2002 Ateneo team.
Wala kami we don't remember anything from that. We don't remember anything from that year, Maui. So 2002, just to let you know. Sorry, hindi namin tandaan yung year na yun eh. 2001
Sakto.
previous.
All of you guys are green.
Nakaktaw kami nun mo eh. Nakaktaw.
Sorry, Mama. We'd like to reminisce, pero wala kami tandaan that year eh. Walang nangyari. Para ako 13-0 nung nasal, tapos nag-stop na yung season eh. That's what I remember from that year.
The season
Tapos na
ended.
yung UAP. Alright, go ahead, Bri.
Well, nabanggit na niya si Rich Alvarez, pero kung may gusto ka pang isagot sa next question, feel free to do so. Favorite Blue Eagle?
Siguro outside si Rich Alvarez, there's two. Sa early 2000s, I would say si Larry Fonacier is somebody that I really idolize because of his outside shooting and very cool eh. Very cool. If you were to ask me naman, outside Rich Alvarez, I'd probably say si Terdy Ravenna is my second best Atenean. I just really like how he plays. Very versatile and finals 30 is really one of the best finals players in UAAP history for me. I would say he would probably rank as one of the top. I would say people are underrating up to now, even up to now, how good truly Terdy Ravenna has and was been in Ateneo before. If you were to ask me Lasal player in the early 2000s, I would say si Coolcat. Mike Cortez.
Isa pa
Kaya I like si
Ayun na, yun yung next question. Yun yung next question kay Maui. Yan na. Nasagot na niya.
Yeah, so if you were to ask me, I would say my favorite Lasal player before was si Coolcat. Even yung classmates ko in grade school, we were so anti-Lasal. Kasi the rivalry was very intensified pa during the early 2000s. I would say even a lot of us, si Mike Cortez was really somebody that we really love watching. Parang Allen Iverson version maybe of the UAAP, similar but more of a facilitator. Which is why I would say since if you were to ask me right now who was my favorite Lasal player, it's his son, si Jacob Cortez. I've been saying this sa Bolero guys, Sammy and si Gab. Ever since I watched Jacob playing for San Beda sa finals nila against, I think, one of the finals, I'm not sure if Letran or Mapua in the NCAA, I said that this guy is legit and Lasal is very lucky that you were able to get him for this coming season. Very similar yung play style, very flashy, controls his own tempo. So I love basically si Jacob Cortez. I think he's my favorite Lasal player right now.
Yan, that's a really good combo, father and son. Itong next one, school yung sagot. So, favorite opponents in the UAAP? Is it Lasal or is there another school na favorite mo personally?
Definitely Lasal. Diba? When you're a millennial, I would say you'd be crazy to say if you're from Lasal, they'd probably say Ateneo. If you're from Ateneo, you'd probably say Lasal. Diba? There's this saying that my dad told me, lose the whole season, lose all the games, just don't lose to Lasal. Diba? I think you guys would agree as
it goes the other way
Lasal,
too.
you'd say,
okay na
diba?
itong 12, basta yung dalawang panalo sa Ateneo galing.
Tama, diba? If you are a legit UAAP fan, you'd say that. If you are a millennial, it's different nowadays. The rivalry is different, but if you were probably a millennial, that's something that you would hold to heart.
Yeah, and that's something we'll discuss later on the show, most definitely. One of our topics. Go ahead, Bri.
Yeah.
And the last one is, no context. So, bahala na yung viewers mag-interpret kung ano man yung sagot mo. If not Ateneo, which school?
If you've been watching Boleros, my favorite UAP school since the early 2000s was probably UST. for some reason kasi UST has the best wing players, and I'm a guy that loves wing
Mm.
players. Kaya idol ko si Tracy McGrady, idol ko si Larry Fonacier, Rich Alvarez. Those are wing players. And one of my early UAAP idols actually is si Nino Gelig and si Cyrus Baguio.
Yes, oh,
That's a
baka.
good
That's
throwback.
why yeah, that's a
Uh,
good throw. That's why I really like UST, and despite UST breaking the hearts of Ateneans in 2006, ba yun, I really love yung wing players nila, every one of them. Sila Altera, Ababu,
yeah.
Jojo Duncil, those guys, Spiritu. All of those guys are guys that actually are modern basketball wings
Yes.
who can drive to the basket, who can shoot from the outside. So sorry to say, but it's not gonna be LaSalle, but it's probably UST, if not Ateneo.
Ayos yan, ayos yan. No worries.
Yeah, no offense taken to that, Maui, but yeah, good choices. Cyrus, one of the most athletic players in the UAP that we've ever seen. Now looking at we talk about the past. Now looking at current events, there's this recent discussion that UAP has had about bringing, and Vic would like to ask you about this one. And you've discussed in your podcast. We'd like to get your thoughts on this on the show too. Go ahead, Vic.
Yung ano kasi, Mau, like, ito pinag-uusapan din namin sa GC namin sa Quiver. Kasi di ba right now, we only have one FSA, di ba? Tapos ito, merong recent news na it will become two. Kasi ako, to be honest, nung unang stand ko sa kanya with Brian, Kiko, and the rest of the Quiver guys, sabi ko, parang ayoko magdagdag. Kasi parang, ang common notion ko was, parang oo nga, baka naagawan ng slot yung Pinoy. But eventually, looking back, ang medyo nag-ano sa akin yung FIBA na U16 na gilas eh. After watching those games, bigla ako na-share sa kanila na baka nga maybe it's time magdalawang FSA ulit. Sabi ko sa kanila. Kasi parang, let's face it, our normal tall guys are just 6'4", 6'5". Talaga. Yun lang yung normal na Pinoy na pinakamatangkad na eh. 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". And we are forcing them to play centers. Sabi kong ganun, maybe it's about time na magdalawang FSAs ka ulit so that baka ma-force tayo na i-develop at an early age yung mga 6'3", 6'4", 6'5s natin to play wing or stretch force, di ba? Kaya yun yung naging take ko. Ikaw ba? Ano mo doon? What are your thoughts on bringing back na dalawang ulit tayo sa UAP, dalawang FSAs ulit?
Yeah, actually very heated for me yung debate right now. I was watching yung kina Vin and Kinito. And I have to say,
Yeah.
based on my personal view, I strongly disagree that FSA should not be removed. Number one, from the UAP. And it goes to your point, 'di ba? We don't have the luxury of having like China, who has probably so many players who are 6'10", 7-footers. What we have is an abundance of guards and maybe some wings who stand at 6'4", 6'5", 6'3". So I'm for definitely FSAs. And I don't think that we'll have a Kevin Cambao. I don't think we'll have a Carl Tamayo if there were no FSAs. Kevin Cambao was playing the center slot sa NU as a context. If there were no FSAs in the UAP, I don't see any reason why he would translate to a wing player come college. So that's one of the main benefits why I think that the FSA slot is needed, especially in Philippine basketball. And I'm so against Kinito saying that the NCAA is more progressive than the UAAP. The UAAP is
Yes.
definitely more progressive than
Yes.
the NCAA. Just look at the rules that the UAAP has been passing. I think the main problem right now with UAAP is yung transfer of players. But as far as all the things that goes, all the other rules that they passed, they study FIBA, they look at the international games, they tailor fit the game to make sure that players will be able to get opportunity. And it's no secret, di ba? More often than not, more UAAP players get opportunities to play abroad.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are more scouted. A lot of these guys are playing positions that are more that are more that give them that in positions that even if they're not that tall, that they can still play internationally. Diba? Like 30. So, as far as the two FSA is concerned naman, I'm also for it. Just because the UAAP has limitations right now of, I want to see how it works kasi they can play game to game. I don't know if we should start allowing for them to play at the same time. Maybe that's something that the UAAP can look at in the future kasi it will definitely raise competition. As far as yung sayang naman that mawawalan ng posisyon ang local player, I think the UAP has a designated spot right now, yung 17th slot, just for that backup FSA. So that's definitely answered by that question. But I would say I'm for it just because of how important an FSA is in the UAP. You cannot succeed in the UAP without an FSA. The only way that you can succeed in the UAP without an FSA is if you get a generational talent like Mike Phillips, or you get a QMB who only played a season. Diba, UAP. Mike Phillips is a generational talent because there are no other big man who can dominate, who can match up with these FSAs. Diba? Even si Isaac Go, who was one of the top picks sa PBA draft and was part of the very successful Tab Baldwin Ateneo, was just a substitution. Diba? Si Mike Phillips lang is the only one. And si QMB is just played the season. So I can't even say that he is one. But that's one of the main reasons why I believe the UAP should allow substitution of FSAs. I don't know if it's the right thing na you can play somebody different every game, but what I think is correct is that they have an option to change an FSA. Because just look at NU. Diba? NU was a promising team, and everyone is expecting NU to become a Final Four team. And NU was the only team that defeated LaSalle and UP last season.
UP. Yep.
Going head to head with LaSalle in those two matchups without an FSA. So imagine how they felt, not having any option the whole 3 months, not having any option to save their season. So that's one of the main reasons why I am for having two FSAs.
Good points.
Nice.
All right. Now let's go into the preview segment, Maui, focusing on Ateneo, of course, school team. So let's quickly look back at last year, if you don't mind a bit. Last year, Ateneo struggled. Let's not name the place anymore where they finished last year. But what do you, based on your analysis, based on looking at the team, what do you think was the root cause of the Ateneo's problems to struggle last year?
Well, definitely yung lineup wasn't as strong as many probably was rating. Remember, Ateneo lost a ton of key players nung off-season, diba? One of them went to LaSalle, diba? Si Mason Amos was supposed to be the next star player for Ateneo with Jared Bahay. Si Balungay also left. Gio Chu. You talk about FSAs and how important it is having a backup big, diba, in the UAAP. So, just to name a few, those are maybe the top players that Ateneo lost from the previous season. And you could see if you were watching during the off season what was gonna happen. Diba? Ateneo was winless. But for me, to be honest, if you were to ask me, last season Ateneo outperformed despite finishing last. I would say last. But if we look at the season, Ateneo had a lot of chances to get some wins, but also through some games that could have helped them probably. It was very tight, diba, yung battle for fourth. So you could say that anybody from the bottom could finish, could fight for the playoffs. It's not like Ateneo was 0-14 and was getting blown out every game. There was certain games that Ateneo was blown out, but to me, what was more striking was Ateneo was throwing winnable games, games that could have helped them maybe end the season on a higher note, or even end the season with the playoffs for the number 4 slot. It was not like Ateneo was dead last and not competing. So definitely they were still competing under Tab Baldwin, but you could see so many deficiencies. Diba? Ateneo was playing Sean Kitevis who was non-existent in offense. Ateneo had a starting center and a starting point guard who were rookies. You could argue that Bahay could start in any team, but Porter was what I think this official measurement in practice is only 6'3". And he was matching up with FSAs, he was matching up with Mike
Yep.
Phillips from LaSalle. So imagine the huge disadvantage. And you can see naman what happens when there's no FSA, even with other teams. I think some of the wins that Ateneo got last season were because the FSA was not there. That's a very big thing. I think in our podcast, I always say that the two most important positions in the UAAP is the FSA slot and usually the point guard slot. It usually dictates your success.
Agree.
Diba? LaSalle is different the past few seasons because they had KQ, who was the central part of the offense. Diba? So, but usually, a championship team in the UAAP, ang very important talaga is point guard and center. And that's been the case. If you look at UP, if we look at Ateneo, di ba, they had pretty good point guards with Nieto, Kagulangan, Belangel, Manzo, all of the likes. It's required in the UAAP to have a good floor general and to have a good big man or usually FSA.
Yeah. In that case, Mao, is it really? You think what stemmed that lack of roster options? Is there a lack of recruitment on that end, or at the same time, from the outside looking in, I think it's always had this stance of in Tab we trust. Tab give some players. He can make the talent work and raise the talent level up. Was last year a stretch too far for a coach like Tab Baldwin with that kind of roster?
My personal opinion is yes. The team really had so many deficiencies, di ba? Maybe they had the talent, but they had so many holes to fill that they couldn't really compete at a consistent level against UAAP teams. I think it's really a byproduct of both Coach Tab as a coach. The reason why Ateneo lacked talent last season, kasi generally speaking, the players from Coach Tab get opportunities out elsewhere.
Yep.
Diba? Balungay could have stayed in Ateneo for another, I think, 2 seasons. Gio Chu could have stayed one more season. But they had their opportunities, diba? If you get an offer from the B League, if you get the chance to go pro even in the PBA, Balungay has already had a son. So, he had to prioritize different things.
Factor talaga yan.
Diba? So, I think that was a huge blow to Ateneo. I think one other thing is some of the recruits that Ateneo expected to come did not come, especially from COVID. I think si Ladi, if I'm not mistaken, is one of those guys who's gonna suit up for a one and done season. Dwight Ramos was another guy. The list goes on. The list goes on for Ateneo, and I think yung planning nila, maybe it's I don't know if it's maybe a lack of preparation by the management of Ateneo, or maybe they were underestimating how crazy the other schools were also going to recruit, like UP, LaSalle, UST, and the likes of the other teams. But definitely last season, I think if you were to ask my personal opinion, definitely a lack of just too many holes. Too many deficiencies for Ateneo to really compete at a high level. Even yung FSA ng Ateneo last season wasn't supposed to be Balogun. It was supposed to be God's Love, who got a Division 1 offer. Yeah. Diba? He was too good. He was doing pretty well, I think, in Phil Oil and Pinoy Liga. Scouts from the US were able to see him, and I think he was able to get an offer from Eastern Michigan in the US and played Division 1 basketball. So just a combination of maybe some bad luck and maybe some lack of foresight from the management of Ateneo. Daming players that were expected to be in the lineup but were not there because of different circumstances.
I think, Kicks, singit ko lang. I think one name
go ahead, Vic.
out na medyo close sa akin, si Jared Brown. Ang galing nun, pare. Yun, factor din yun na hindi rin siya nagbalik. Sobrang galing ng point guard na yun. Ibang klase. Yun.
Right. Go ahead, Vic. Yeah, you can take on the next question too.
Yan, tama. Sige, Mau. Ito medyo I think medyo aware na naman tayo na hindi to lagi. First, tama, correct me if I'm wrong. First time na kukuha ng one and done ni Ateneo. Tama ba ako? Parang hindi ko, sa tagal kong panonood ng UAAP, parang hindi normal for Ateneo to get one and done. So medyo siya na, let's say, first time, no. And with ako actually ngayon ko lang nalaman na si Ladi is also one and done. Kala ko 2 years ang ilalaro niya. So let's include him in the list. I think si
He's too
Jaden.
old.
Okay, sige. So it's Jaden.
Yeah,
Si S.
he's supposed to have eligibility but he's too old. Kaya he can only play
Ah,
one season. It's gonna be 25.
okay. Yun. So with bali tatlo, no, tama, with the three one and done, si Ladi, si Escobar, and si Jaden. From your personal opinion, ano yung dapat na madala nila for Ateneo for season 88?
Yeah. Actually, to your point, out of memory, I think the only one that I can remember is si Joe Obasa. The FSAF
Yeah.
Ateneo was also one and
Yeah.
done.
Tama. Yeah,
But
tama.
as far as your point goes, I don't think Ateneo's had any player who's been a one and done na talagang consistent. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember. As far as the other three guys, I think ang pinaka for me ang pinaka-important sa Ateneo from the previous season is yung front line, 'di ba? Kasi you saw how Mike Phillips did nung Asia Basket, almost 40 and 20. So I think Ateneo has addressed those two concerns by getting an FSA who I think has a huge ceiling, si Divine Adili.
Yep.
And si Ladi also fills a lot of the gaps. He can play 5-4-3, I think even some 2. I think his natural position is the 2-3. But if you watch yung games ni Laladi, he can drive to the basket. He shoots from the outside. Definitely bring some leadership, those three guys, kasi they're older than the current players. Remember, Ateneo was parading mostly rookies and
Yep.
sophomores last season. I think those three guys have had NCAA
Devon
Division 1 or
experience, yep.
Division 2 experience.
Experience. Yep.
I think si Lazo is bringing outside shooting to Ateneo. He will probably be an alternate to Kyle Gamber or LeBron Nieto when he gets healthy. Si Dominic Escobar naman, I heard, is a very big wing player. He can defend the best player from the other team, and I think it's very versatile. He has an outside shot. He gets to the basket. Basically, do it all forward for this coming season. I think Ateneo's two main holes were outside shooting and front court toughness, and those are three things that Ladi, Adili, and Escobar and Lazo definitely brings, which is why I think Ateneo has a better chance this season than the previous season, definitely without a doubt.
Yeah, in relation to
Right.
that, kasi diba, like what we mentioned, apart from Obasa, it's not an active recruitment strategy of Ateneo to tap
Yes.
into the one and dones or even two and throughs, diba? So, why do you think has the strategy shift at least for this season? Ano yung mga factors that has brought about why suddenly now there's that appetite to have these
Yeah,
players?
actually madaming factors. I think it shifted. Yung strategy ng Ateneo really shifted when their players started to leave early. Sila Belangel, 'di ba? That's why si Jared Brown and even si Kai Balungay are two and true players. Or si Kai Balungay is only eligible 3 seasons. So Ateneo has really started this type of strategy even before, 'di ba? Si Obasa was also a one and done for Ateneo. I think that strategy really started when everything shifted nung COVID.
Yeah.
'Di ba? You don't know who's gonna stay. You don't know how many years these players are willing to play. Are they willing to play till they're 25? Are they gonna go pro early? And it really started when Ateneo players got that opportunity. 'Di ba? Players were getting offers. Si Belangel, I think, had 2 more playing years but decided to go
Yes.
pro early.
Yes.
'Di ba?
Yep.
I think si Idalfonso even also had 1 playing year if I'm not mistaken. But it really shifted early. And with the current dynamics of the UAP of player transfers and players going pro early, I think we're gonna see more one and dones definitely. And remember, si Ladi naman wasn't supposed to be a one and done. Initially, he was, I think, in the plans of Ateneo. Even during the pandemic, they were trying to get him. but circumstances change, and he's only going to play a one and done season. As far as si Lazo and Escobar, I don't know if maybe I would say that what if you were to name a reason, it probably be si Tab Baldwin is also on a 1 year I think his contract is expiring at the end of the season. So maybe Ateneo is trying to bolster their lineup, going all in and getting some of these one and dones. But definitely with the current landscape of the UAAP, with them allowing players who have played 4 seasons in the NCAA, whether Division 1, 2, or 3, I would see that there would definitely be more one and dones, two and throughs in the UAAP. Very easy kasi to get one and dones, but you don't even have to do a residency year.
Yes.
It's a gateway or a pathway for these foreigner players to showcase their talent, so that the B League, the KBL, the PBA,
Yeah.
the MPBL, all of these leagues in Asia can scout them. Kasi to be honest, I don't think a lot of leagues in Asia look at the NCAA in the US. Diba? They only look at the prospects in the D League, the prospects who are undrafted, who could be drafted in the NBA, and get them as their main imports. But when you talk about Asian imports, with countries like Taiwan, countries like Indonesia, also employing now Asian imports, I would say dadami. Not just for Ateneo ang one and dones, two and throughs, because it's their way to I mean, if you look at the NBA, I think I read this somewhere. 0.0001% I think of high schoolers, basketball players in the US get to the NBA. Diba?
Yes.
So it makes sense that these Finnish foreigners are more practical if they want to have a career in basketball. So definitely a lot more Phil foreigners will go to the Philippines. And yung Film Nation, di ba? That's another thing. Yung Film Nation
Yeah,
has really
another
opened
pathway.
doors for Phil foreigners, not just in the Philippines, but also I think in the UK, in Australia, in New Zealand.
Then now I think the thing with looking back at Coach Sally, he's on probably a 1 year deal on an expiring contract. They're bringing this one and dones to help him out for this season. Tab, we've seen at his best is when he has a core, whether it's in Gias thing, builds that core to buy into his system. Now we have an influx of new players trying to buy in on these one and dones. Very unique preseason preparations. We didn't join on the Phil Oil leagues. Do you think it'll be Tab will make this team successful with that kind of setup that he's not used to? How do you see it playing out this year?
Well, I think si Tab has the acumen naman to adjust to the current landscape of the UAAP. I think he's had a year also. Not just a year, maybe 2 years, 'di ba? Kasi it really started when Ateneo finished the season at 7-7 2 seasons ago. The influx of players out of Ateneo, yung early exit ng players, not the usual I'll play all my 5 years, 'di ba?
This year,
It
continuity.
started
Yeah.
It started 2 seasons ago, so I think by now Coach Tab could have probably been able to, with the type of coaching acumen Coach Tab has. I think all he has to have is talent and some time to really mesh your team, which I think Ateneo has done pretty well this off season. It's one of the main reasons why I think we haven't seen them a lot. Diba? They've been together in tournaments abroad. They've been training everywhere. And the latest I've heard is I think they're on a team building seminar right now. Not basketball training, but really to build up yung chemistry and relationships within. I think right now Ateneo is on a team building session, and I don't think it's basketball related. It's more of about building your trust with each other, building yung camaraderie and chemistry for the coming season. And if we see Coach Tab, remember we saw Coach Tab have this type of off season with Ateneo. When Coach Tab first coached with Ateneo, nobody was expecting the team led by 30, the team led by the Nietos, Isaac Go, to compete. And they were able to get to the finals, diba? And I think the main reason that they really underperformed in the minds of many last season is ang daming surprises, eh, di ba? Something that you cannot control. Di ba? Balungay deciding to leave early, Mason Amos leaving very late, di ba? Kasi Mason Amos already joined Ateneo in their Australian leg of training.
Yeah.
So they were fully expecting him to play for next season, but circumstances change. That hasn't been the case for Ateneo this offseason. Everything has been smoother. Nobody has maybe you could see si Porter was the only guy that really surprised us that's leaving. And but very early on they already knew that there was a problem with Porter and he could potentially leave. So I think it's a better offseason definitely for Ateneo. I think it could get worse from last offseason, not just because of the player movement, but if we look at yung off-season tournaments, they couldn't win against any UAP team. I think they were 0-7 in Phil-Oil and Pinoy Liga last season. So on our podcast, we always said last season that the only thing we need was a glimmer of hope, and I think Ateneo has a ton of that this coming to this season. Especially with that team, they have basically the same core and the one and dones plus Adili coming in.
Then we'll definitely get your predictions at the end of the show to see how you think this Ateneo season will go. But to get you on the perspective of other things going around the UAP, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, so syempre, I mean, we talked about Ateneo a lot already because of Maui joining us, but we're also curious about what are your thoughts of Lasal from the outside looking in. So unang question ko siguro is, what is Lasal's best aspect, or ano ba yung what can bring them to regain the title they lost last season?
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, Lasal should have won the title, di ba? If they just made their free throws nung finals.
Yeah.
It was really crazy nung finals. But I would say their biggest asset is really Coach Topex and how he brings yung team together. If you were to ask me, I've been watching the UAP for close to 2 decades already. I haven't seen Lasal hold hands and pray before the game, and you can see yung tightness ng team. And I really love how Coach Topex has built yung system in Lasal, how they continue to develop players. I think huge credit should be given to the people who are not seen in the cameras, 'di ba? Yung training staff ng Lasal, the ones who really molded Mike Phillips, the ones who really molded Kevin Cambao to be the player that he is. 'Di ba? You can have all the hard work, but if you don't have the right people leading you to that right direction, guiding you to the right type of conditioning, right type of skills training, that's very important. And I think that's one of the main reasons why players like Mason Amos, why players like Luis Pablo have decided to transfer to Lasal. It's their training. It's how they really mold yung players nila. I think if I heard it correctly, may private chef pa that looks at the nutrition of Lasal. This has been the case for Lasal even in the early 2000s. Lasal was the team that didn't have players who were cramping up, and it's because of their huge investment into conditioning and strength and conditioning, which I think has paid off very much. Behind the scenes, the people behind the scenes have really done a good job. Outside of Coach Topex, I think si Coach Topex has really been a big blessing to Lasal. After having, I don't know how many coaching changes the past decade, di ba?
Parang one a year yan.
One a year. Outside Aldin
Hindi kami
Ayo,
may one
di
and
ba?
done, Mau eh. Parang kaming may one and done.
One and coaches kami.
Pero coach, one and done, pero coach. Yeah.
Oo.
I think it's very important eh. It's very important in the UAP to have some level of stability.
Yeah.
Diba?
Agree.
It took time for UP to build up their system with si Coach Bo and really steering them to the right direction. Ateneo was successful because of the continuity of players and Coach Tab. Diba? And for Lasal to be successful moving forward, I think it really boils down to how their coaching staff reacts to the changes. changes in the landscapes of player movements, rules, and eligibilities, all of this. And I think yung training staff nila and coaching staff really has done a pretty good job. And it's one of the reasons why Lasal is back as a top tier team in the UAP basketball.
Yeah, before I go to the next question, I just want to recall a moment. Buti na lang nanalo kami sa UE nun sa QPAV or SK100. Kasi you remember, di ba?
Yun
Nangingay yung
turning
topic
point
eh. Marami sama namin nagsasabi, either from Lasal or from not Lasal. May sabi nila, wait, is Coach Topex gonna last the year? Parang people were calling for his already. So,
Kasi we are...
Yung off-season pa lang,
Parang-
pa lang, actually, we were talking in Boleros. Noong off-season pa lang, Coach Topic was posting yung mga games, yung mga practice games.
behind the scenes,
And
Yep.
And I think LaSalle was losing to NCAA teams like San Sebastian, Lyceum. People in the comment section wanted Coach Topic's head right there. And I was saying to the Bolero guys, they're crazy for not even giving him a chance because he's a proven coach, diba, in the NCAA. They had to give him time. And fortunately, LaSalle was able to turn the season around. And it would be crazy, but it would not be, to be completely honest, we've been talking about sa Boleros, when you coach a team like UP, LaSalle, Ateneo, and maybe now UST, yung pressure is different, diba?
Yes.
You're only as good as your last season, you're only as good as your last game, diba? It's the main reason why si Coach Tabas had gotten maybe an extension if he wanted to, diba? Ateneo has not been a top tier team the past 2 seasons, despite winning 4 championships, getting to the finals, I think 6 seasons. Diba? You're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as your last season. When you're coaching, I would say, even, especially Ateneo and LaSalle, iba yung pressure talaga.
yeah, it's from within more than from the outside. So yung second question dun lang is, I asked for the best asset. So now I would ask, what would keep LaSalle from winning the title this season? Is it free throws or more than that pa? Syempre, free throws. We always hit out at that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would say, the one thing very important that LaSalle has really worked on pretty well this off-season is meshing the top guys. Yung chemistry ng top guys. Kasi if you watch them nung early preseason, I think they were still struggling to play with each other. They didn't know how to utilize Mason Amos, Jacob Cortez, and Kian Baclaan didn't know when to take turns. But if you look at the preseason, they were getting better and better, going undefeated in tournaments. I would say that UP just really had a pretty good finals ng Phil Oil, which is why they lost. But to be honest, I don't see any team defeating UP or LaSalle this coming season for the championship, unless if Ateneo maybe gets hot, or NU gets hot, or maybe UST gets hot. But definitely LaSalle and UP are on another level, and it's a coin toss who wins the game. Maybe it goes 3 games again if we go to the finals, and it boils down to free throws, diba? But
Wag sana.
the one
Wag
thing
sana. But yeah. Wag sana.
that's why they got si Coach Renren, diba? To help them
Yes.
sa free throw shooting and outside
Hopefully it
shooting.
works.
But I think as much as last season, I think the outside shooting and free throw shooting will be very crucial to LaSalle. But they have a lot of star players, but can players like Makalalag hit open 3-pointers? Can players like EJ Goliena become spark plugs? Can Andre Dungo get hot sa 3-point shot? And I think it's gonna be very important yung balance. I think the Jacob Cortez and Kian Baclaan will have to do a good job of balancing. Kasi if you talk about firepower, definitely LaSalle has all of them. You have very good wing players, you have very good shooters, you have the best, I would say the best player coming into next season with Mike Phillips in. Jacob Cortez and Kian Baclaan will have to be good floor generals for LaSalle too. They will definitely have to balance yung scoring and playmaking to be successful. Because if you look at the off-season, I think if you look at the games where LaSalle have had a lot of players contributing, like the ones in Japan, when players contribute 8+ points, even if nobody scores 20, they usually win. LaSalle is more dangerous and very hard to stop when all of the guys are scoring. Diba? When you see Kian Baclaan need to score 20-30 points, Mike Phillips needing to have a 30-20 game, that's when they are more vulnerable, in my opinion. But when you see Andre Dungo hit 3 3-pointers, when you see JC Makalalag score 10 points, when you have 8 players scoring 6 to 10 points, that's when they are most dangerous because you don't know what to do. How can you stop the pick and roll of Kian Baclaan and Mike Cortez when Jacob Cortez is also waiting in the wing and Andre Dungo is hot in the corner, diba? And Mason Amos is hitting his wing and corner 3-pointers. But when Mike Phillips has to have a 30-20 game, that's when they are most vulnerable, in my opinion.
Right. Then we talked about earlier about changing landscapes in terms of the player movement, rules, schools. Now it's about there's the rivalries in the UAP. Vic, go ahead.
Nabanggit ni Maui kayo na 2 decades siya. Ako medyo dadagdagan ko ng konti. So yun yung landscape, yung ating landscape really changed, no, from let's say when I started watching 90s until now, no. And ako, ito kasi parang syempre we do recognize that UP is emerging. Andyan sila. They've won 2 championships already in this recent decade or recent in the past few years. And I think hindi to nagsisink in sa hindi ko alam kung si Maui na napapansin to, no. Pero kasi Mau, just to share side story, 2023 Final Four, first game kayo nun eh. First game si Ateneo UP, second game sila sa NU nung season na yon. Funny story, I was just waiting sa red gate ni Araneta. Parang naka-6 o 7 Atenista yung lumalapit sa akin noon. And they're saying, Sir, please beat UP. Parang, wow. Sabi ko parang, meron na ba talagang for me, I think the first question really is, on your side sa Ateneo. Kasi kami, from the outside, parang feel namin may rivalry na with Ateneo and UP. So I think that's the first question. Sa inyo ba, sa side ni Ateneo, do you start feeling that kind of an atmosphere na rin?
Yes, definitely. Actually, nung una, parang lang yan, joke lang because UP was beating Ateneo in perfect seasons, di ba? So, it really started out, I think the rivalry of Ateneo and UP really started out with those. Parang nag-joke lang Ateneo. Ang UP had a bonfire, I think, when they defeated Ateneo, di ba? But eventually, it really evolved into something bigger. And I think that it really boils down also to Coach Bo. Di ba? Si Coach Bo was the coach of Ateneo before Coach Tab, number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, when UP was starting to build up their teams under Coach Bo, Ateneo and UP faced each other sa finals and they were the favorites in multiple seasons. Di ba? If si Coach Aldin wasn't able to upset UP, then maybe we would have had more Coach Bo versus Coach Tap in the finals. And after that, diba, if you look at the one after that, UP and Ateneo faced each other in the finals multiple times, even facing each other twice in 1 year. When UP first won their championship and Ateneo snatched the championship 5 or 6 months after. So I think it really, it really boiled down into that. Maybe it's a difference also in terms of like the general demeanor of a UP fan to an Ateneo fan. An Ateneo fan is aminin natin medyo mata pobre. Ang Ateneo and LaSalle mas maarte. They don't. There are, of course, there are certain Ateneo and LaSalle fans who are diehard, like me.
Yeah.
I cheer crazy. I go wild during the games. But if you look at the crowd, most of them are not as crazy, not as palaban. But if we look at the crowd of UP, it's different. Diba? UP fans are more passionate. UP fans are more rowdy. And that's their brand. Diba? Kasi it all boils down to them really being able to come from nothing. Even the basketball team came from nothing and rose from the ashes. Diba? It's nowhere to go but up. Yung motto ng UP when they were going up. And UP fans are, I would say, one of the most passionate UAP fans. Maybe with UST fans. UST fans are also crazy when they're competing. But Diba? But UP fans are rowdy, passionate. They really invested sila really on their team. More so than I would say even Ateneans or I will not speak for Lasal, but I would say more so than Ateneans. Diba? They know even the player who's not playing, even the guy who's the 16th man, they know the favorite food, they know the favorite color, diba? I mean, UP fans are invested. Different type of investment in basketball. Maybe it's the same for Lasal fans when it comes to their volleyball team or Ateneo fans when it came to their volleyball team before. But when it comes to basketball, the UAAP, UP fans are more passionate, more invested than ano. And it's the reason why mas palaban talaga sila. I would say, sorry to the UP fans if I don't mean to offend, but it's good and bad at the same time, diba? I mean, you want to have passionate fans, you want to have fans who are invested, but sometimes there are you don't want to generalize, but sempre in all schools there are crazy fans,
Yes.
Yeah.
'di ba?
Yeah, and we always say that these UP fans, don't worry, you didn't offend them. We offend them much more than you do on this show a lot. So they let us know about it. So don't worry about it. But yeah, we used to joke here, Maui, that UP, that passion used to just be during halftime, and now they figured out there are other 4 quarters going around those halftime shows. Now that they're good.
Yeah.
But looking at the rivalry, Brian has a question for you. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Brian.
so from an Ateneo perspective, alam ko since growing up, uh, Ateneo had two main rivals in the UAP, which is Lasal, the sporting one, and yung UP, which is more of a community one, because you share the same space in QC, diba? So I mean, there's a lot of familiarity in that sense. So given what has
Yeah.
transpired, how the basketball competition has evolved, how do you compare similarities and differences between an Ateneo UP
Yan.
rivalry and an Ateneo Lasal rivalry?
Yan, yan. Lasal Ateneo.
And to add, Mao, do you think that the LaSalle rivalry has lost its luster in the past few years with all these changing landscapes, with the changing cultures, with fans? What are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Definitely, I would say it's still there, but it's not like it used to be. Diba? Si Vic would know. Diba? If you were watching the 90s or even
Mm.
80s or 70s, all of the stories that I've heard from my dad back when they were in the NCAA, yung Ateneo and Lasal was with Letran and San Beda were so
Via,
crazy. And it's, I think, one of the main reasons why Lasal and Ateneo transferred to the UAAP.
yes.
And when they transferred to the UAAP, since wala nang Letran, wala nang San Beda, tayo na yung magkagera. And it's different. The atmosphere is different. And I don't think maybe the Gen Z people or even the late millennials will really understand how crazy the rivalry was back in the day, even in the early 2000s, diba? When you had players like Mark Cardona, players like Joseph Yo and Rico Villanueva, even bringing the rivalry to charity games and the PBA.
Oo, di ba?
Diba? It's different. Everything was personal, whether it was on the court or off the court. Now it's different, diba? When the players shake the hands of the other players follow each other in social media, they hang out with each other. Diba? Parang si Kevin Kiambao, I mean, one of the main reasons why Amos transferred to Lasal was because of their relationship in Gilas. It wasn't the case before, di ba? Talagang rivals talaga. Hindi kita papansinin pag Lasal ka, and iba yung kulunong dugo, iba yung galit mo when Lasal was beating Ateneo or vice versa. And I would say I'm guilty of being crazy. I
Oh,
had
we all
my
are. No.
fair share of being too crazy in games where my mom had to restrain me or had to hilahin yung shirt ko to stop me from heckling other Lasal fans. And I don't think if you guys heard this during our podcast early days, natapunan ako ng battle ng Lasal crowd because I was taunting my friend who was from Lasal. It was a friendly banter. But the people behind me probably thought I was taunting them.
Oo.
So I had security. The whole game. So that's one of my experiences. Another one is I'm sure you guys know si Mr. Ataide.
Yeah.
Mr. Longhair Ataide before who is a very big supporter of Lasal. And on numerous games, numerous occasions, he was heckling me for cheating too much because I was seated sa Lasal side. So that's how different it was, diba? People were more crazy, people were more palaban, people were more irrational than how it is now. And I think it's not just because of the UAP and the changing landscape, but really more of how things have changed throughout the world, diba? People are more woke. You could easily go viral if you do something crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
people are more careful, 'di ba? So it's really that. But yeah, definitely the rivalry of Ateneo Lasal is not as tight as it was in the early 2000s from my experience. It was definitely a lot crazier. But with UP and Ateneo right now, I would say iba pa rin Ateneo Lasal games versus Ateneo and UP games. As a UAP fan and as a guy from Ateneo, it still feels different for me pag Ateneo Lasal personally. But if maybe second team, if you were to ask me another team na medyo kumukulo dugo ko, medyo iba yung feelings ko when Ateneo faces somebody, it has to be UP. Just because of UP becoming a contender, not just because yung rivalry ng Ateneo being and UP being an atipunan. I've never had a bad interaction with somebody from UP naman growing up in Katipunan. Even when me and my blockmates from college go to UP, to Manglaris, to eat isaw or to eat dun sa mga food stands ng UP. We've never had that bad thing. But when it comes to Ateneo Lasal, it was different, di ba? Pag alam nilang Atenista ka and nasa Lasal ka, di ba, people don't look at you the same way that you would look to a fellow Lasallian. And it was the same. It was the same. If you go to Ateneo and you go to JSEC was the place to be when I was in Ateneo. And they know that you're from Lasal. Iba yung tingin ng mga tao, di
That's
ba?
true. That's true. Masasabi ko
Diba?
yun kasi before, when I was in college, I was covering the football games. So, di ba sa Ateneo yung football before? So, parang sabi ko, pag niyayaya ako ng friend ko na Atenista, tara, kaya tayo JSEC. Tapos parang ako, iba yung hangin.
Oh, pagka weekday game, Bray, pag
Diba?
weekday
Pero-
game, pag doon ka kakain, lahat ng tao, kulang yung ano pa lang, yung tipong titig pa lang, pwede ka napatayin sa titig.
Kasi hindi ako naka-ID. Iba yung ID ko. So,
Pero,
sabi ng
Brian.
I'm from Luzon.
Brian, aminin mo na muna, anong laman ng bote mo na nung binatuan mo si Maui? Coke ba yun? Pepsi o tubig? Umamin ka na eh. Umamin ka na.
Hindi ako yun. Naka-press ID ako nun. Baka na-revoke yung press nun.
Si Sir Tony,
Okay,
God bless his soul, yeah. God bless his soul.
Interesting question for you. You said social media, the culture has changed. Do you think if Ateneo and Lasal are neck and neck, those top two teams again battling for the title year in, year out, and it builds up, do you think we'll possibly see the same levels again, or too many things have changed in this era?
I don't think it would be the same, 'di ba? Kasi it's ano naman eh, it's something that happened over maybe 5 decades. 'Di ba? Nung 70s riots, nahabol yung tao sa labas when they see you wearing an Ateneo shirt, and kumbaga continually siya eh. People were starting to get less violent, less rowdy. It's something that happened not just overnight, di ba? Not because Ateneo and Lasal haven't been dominant maybe for 5 state seasons at the same time. Di ba? It's really something that really just happened overnight in the UAAP scene, and it's one of the reasons why I mentioned Ateneo and Lasal just had to leave yung UNCA. It was getting too messy, too rowdy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to be the same. It never was. It never will be in the UAAP. I don't think it will be. Unless something radically changes in the future. It's just how people are right now. Maybe yung heckling na lang will be in social media. In Facebook or more so in
sa venues.
in X, Twitter. But it's not gonna be like before na kailangan. Kasi I remember stories eh. Yung uncles ko my uncles are both from Ateneo and Lasal. So but most of us are from Ateneo. So I hear stories from both sides, and they had to be parang student securities, yung parang bouncers in the arena. that's not the case now, di ba? We don't
Yeah.
need guards dun sa gitna. In the early
may guards sa
2000s,
gitna.
there were always, especially in games like in Rizal Coliseum or in Blue Eagle Gym, when it was more easy to have a riot, di ba? To
Yeah.
have no, it's not. I don't think it's gonna be the case, di ba? Gen Z people who probably make up bulk of the UAP, who will make up bulk of the viewership of the UAP, and millennials in the next 2 decades or so are not as not as crazy, as rowdy as those people. Old school mentality.
Right. Finally, Maui, looking at the season ahead, let's get some quick fire predictions from you. First, MVP.
MVP Mike Phillips from LaSalle. Definitely.
All right. Your final four?
Final four, UP LaSalle, definitely. And then maybe I would say, if you were to ask me, siguro yung UST is somebody that I could probably say is somebody that could make it. And then maybe NU or Ateneo
Okay.
for number 4. But Adamson is could also be.
As a dark horse.
Talagang
Probably.
I think it's gonna be tight yung third and fourth place. I think it could be similar to last season.
Yeah.
Maybe the only difference is yung third place then will be more heatly contested. But who knows? Maybe LaSalle and UP join the fray and falter once the season
Yeah.
starts. I mean that would be crazy. That would be more fun. Anything can happen. I think people have to understand that this season is different from the previous two.
Yes, definitely.
I think the gap has was a lot wider, especially last season. Sobrang favorites talaga LaSalle and UP last season. I think LaSalle and UP this season are more vulnerable, and I think it's you can see it if you watch yung preseason games, diba? They're beatable.
Yep.
They have holes, unlike in previous seasons na talagang malayo talaga yung
Alam
talent
mong sure.
level.
Alam mong
And-
sure.
alam mong sure, and if you were a fan of UP and LaSalle, talagang magagalit ka if they lose to
Yeah.
other teams. Diba? When LaSalle threw the game against NU, talagang magagalit ka in
Or
the
UE.
previous season, especially,
Yung UE,
Or
for
UE.
example, yeah.
Ayan.
diba? But UE was on another level nung first round last season. They were just too hot from 3-point line, and
Yeah.
it really normalized.
No.
They
Yung
couldn't
second
sustain
round
that.
when they couldn't
Yeah.
Definitely.
they couldn't hit a three-pointer. Diba? Si Lingo Lingo was leading the league in made three-pointers and 3-point percent. And unfortunately, was too cold nung second round, which is why they had a very unusual UAP season.
Yeah, na pressure din sila with their hot start, na pressure din sila sa sarili nila to how they will be able to sustain it ng second round.
Yeah. Then finally, your prediction will be UAP champion season 88.
Champion?
Could be unbiased, don't worry.
Yeah. I would say, if I were to pick so far from what I've seen, maybe LaSalle. Not because I'm in Quiver, but I've said this the whole off-season. I think LaSalle is still, just because they have Mike Phillips. And maybe I'm biased because I like si Jacob Cortez. And two of I've mentioned this, my most important positions in the UAP is the 1 and 5 slot. Despite being a guy who loves wing players.
The wings.
Diba? But I would say Ateneo is probably my dark horse championship team. But it's really UP in LaSalle. It's a coin toss.
Yeah.
Diba? For next season. It was like the past 2 seasons. It could go 3 games if it's LaSalle and UP. And I hope if it's LaSalle and UP, it goes 3 games. Diba? You always want nail biters. You always want extensions. We always want good games as a UAP fan. I think that's something that I've learned to appreciate, especially the past 2 seasons when Ateneo hasn't been that relevant in terms of like championship aspirations.
Yeah. Ayaw naman doktor namin yan, yung high blood pressure na yan. So they'll be unhappy with those 3 games for sure. And yan, Maui.
Grabe.
And you can see the tunay na natin isa si Maui. Man for Others pick Lasal on the Lasal podcast. So, thanks to the Man for Others. Yan. But,
Hindi ako takot sa inyo ha. Baka sipin ng mga tao, takot
Wala,
ako
wala,
sa
wala,
Lasal.
Nah,
sinabi,
Lasal.
walang briefing
Lasal
na Lasal
community.
dapat. Walang
Yeah.
briefing.
Wala.
But,
you're not holding him
Wala,
hostage.
wala,
Don't worry.
just
Yeah.
watch Boleros. I've said it consistently this season. Even last, I really thought Lasal was gonna win the title. And it really boiled down to maybe a few plays, a few free throws.
Yeah.
UP and Lasal are without a doubt naman yung favorites. It's only a coin toss. Maybe it really all boils down to yung late season adjustments si Coach Gold and maybe the coaching staff of Coach Gold and Coach Topitz. And of course, people not getting injured, which we always pray
Yes.
doesn't happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Kasi
Right.
it's
Um,
really better to watch a league na lahat healthy rather than may mga
Yes,
nag-injure.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right. To end today's episode, I want to invite people to watch Boleros. Go ahead or shout out
Yes,
to anybody. Yeah.
Shout out to Gab and Sam who have been my co-host on Boleros for I think the past 2 or 3 seasons. I wasn't part of the original Boleros cast, but nasama lang ako eventually because of my personal relationship with Sammy. And I invite you guys to check out our podcast. We're the Boleros PH podcast on YouTube. We usually talk about the UAAP and sometimes we talk about the changing landscape of basketball in the Philippines, especially Gilas basketball. But let's go. UAP season is I think opening soon. We're pretty excited. Everyone is excited. I'm praying that no player gets seriously injured during this season. Hopefully, we have a successful season. My personal hope for this season is Lasal and UP to lose a few games early on so we get a crazy season despite them being heavy favorites. Diba? We want mayhem as
Yeah.
Coach Topek said, we want mayhem in the UAP kasi it's more fun when we don't know what's going to happen. It's more fun when it's more chaotic. It's more fun when we have parity when all of the teams, when you go to the arena and you don't know who to win, it's more fun like that.
Yes.
It's coming
That was
from a
definitely-
person who experienced a sweep season. It's still more fun. Napupunta kang arena at Lasal, hindi mo alam sino mananalo. Iba yung goosebumps, iba yung experience, and hopefully we get a successful UAP season. Good luck to Jai Reyes also for being commissioned.
Oh, yeah.
And congratulations.
Yeah. So we'll see in the upcoming season how it plays out. Maui, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Thank
all
you,
the
guys.
insights and the time. Best of luck with
For
Boleros this upcoming season as well. Not so much luck to Ateneo, hopefully, this season, but less luck to them. But exciting stuff for Computer One and Duns. Let's see how Tab will play it out this season. Thank you, man, for giving us your insights about the league, about Ateneo. So we'll be having our final season preview next week. We'll be going game by game, giving our own predictions as well. I thank Blue Fire LPG, as well as Sabi Skincare for supporting the podcast. Maui, Brian, Vic, we'll see you next time again. Enjoy the UAP season. Thanks everyone for listening. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify. And as always say, Animo Lasal. Pwede ka mag one big fight, Maui, if you want. Pwede ka mag one big fight.
Ganun na lang. Eric, salamat.
Thanks.
Eric,
Thanks, guys. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.